From advertising to software as a service to data.
Across all of our programs and clients, we've seen a 55 to 65% open rate.
Getting brands authentically integrated into content performs better than TV advertising.
Typical lifespan of an article is about 24 to 36 hours.
If we're reaching out to the right person with the right message and a clear call to action, then it's just a matter of timing.
Welcome to the MarTech Podcast, a member of the I Hear Everything Podcast Network. In this podcast, you'll hear the stories of world-class marketers that use technology to drive business results and achieve career success. Here's the host of the MarTech Podcast, Benjamin Shapiro.
Welcome to the MarTech Podcast. I'm your host, Benjamin Shapiro, and today we're going to discuss AI in a data-driven world. Joining us is Georgios Grigoriadis, who is the CEO of Baresquare, which revolutionizes data analytics by delivering proactive AI-powered insights directly to the right people at the right time, serving customers like Sony Europe, Condé Nast, Turkish Airlines, and Siemens. Yesterday, Georgios and I talked about defining AI for data and analytics. And today we're going to continue the conversation talking about using AI and data analytics to frame the customer's journey. All right, here's the second part of my conversation with Georgios Grigoriadis, the CEO of Baresquare. Georgios, welcome back to the MarTech Podcast.
Thank you for having me back, Ben. It's a pleasure.
Excited to continue our conversation. We were 30,000 feet in the air yesterday talking about the use of AI for marketers, how it is changing the landscape. And the takeaway is that over a probably significant period of time, marketers' jobs are going to be less operational. Infrastructure and setup upfront, and then it's going to be understanding how do you ask the right questions, because all of the operational work, all the analysis we're going to be done, the LLMs are going to take care of that. So we need to understand what's happening in our data and then use artificial intelligence to make the right campaigns and drive business results. I want to talk about the customer journey, because fundamentally, when we talk about this workflow of capturing our data, feeding it into a large language model that can interpret and extrapolate faster than we ever could as individual people, we still have to be able to try to pick out what's happening with the customers. How we segment it? How do we understand what they're going through to make the right campaigns happen at the right time? Talk to me about how artificial intelligence is helping us better understand our customer segments and what that customer journey actually looks like.
The way that I like to think of this is that right now, the Amazons of the world are having in their hands very specific tools and capabilities with business intelligence. And what AI can really do is to bring that sort of business intelligence to the mom and pop shop. And that is a world that I anticipate that we will reach very, very soon. And think about all the different types of analysis and considerations that the marketer needs to do on a daily basis. Day-over-day analysis, week-over-week, same day, year-over-year. And then how this is not so easy and intuitive as it sounds, because some dates year-over-year are talking about the same day, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the same event. Black Friday always is on a Friday. However, other type of special events are having a fixed date. So all this is a very complicated operational bits of work that a marketer first of all needs to unpack. And as a second step, a marketer needs to go and understand all the different micro segments. We talked about the customer journey. The customer journey, typically marketers know how to look at it and understand it from the perspective of the funnel. However, a customer journey on mobile is different than the one that happens on a desktop device. It depends on how you found the content that you would like to see. And all of these different combinations of the form factor of the device, of the traffic source, of the specific campaign, promotion, the exact SKU of the product that we are looking at, is really a different micro funnel. Marketers have close to zero capability to monitor efficiently those micro funnels, which means if a marketer is sending prospect customers from an ad directly to a product description page of a product that is not in stock, that's a terrible type of experience. And we do experience that all day long. At least a couple of times every week, I'm looking for something that I'm interested to buy just to realize that it's out of stock, it was a promotion that is not active anymore, that the price has changed, that the delivery and the shipping doesn't work for my location or within the time frame that I want. And these are breaking down the customer experience. Now, when companies, retailers don't deliver excellent customer journeys and they see their GMV and their numbers not looking good, they have a knee-jerk reaction, which is to just push a promotion. That in the longer run, it's not good for either the retailers or the customers. And we have come across into this type of customer experience. We just try to make it better by putting a better, more compelling promotion. But at the end of the day, this is not why people buy. They just buy to satisfy their need, not necessarily to get a great deal. However, retailers are somehow trapped in this world of promotion that, again, it's closing the loop with the baseline comparisons that I was telling you before. Because if companies are constantly on and off promotions, how they can really compare their profit margin, their revenue, week over week, day over day, year over year, it becomes super complicated. And that are very simple examples that are a big problem in the operations of what marketers are doing every day. And everyone would love to have less of that and more accuracy in these sites that are coming out of it.
Here's what's going through my head. I'm thinking of this in terms of like a meme that you might see on LinkedIn. There is what marketers want, which is a water slide, right? Somebody gets on and they have no option once they start going. They're going down and they are getting thrown into the pool, right? It is one direction and there is no stopping. What marketers think they have is a funnel, which is we throw a bunch of people in and some of them get stuck at one point, but some of them trickle down and it gets less and less as you go through. And the reality is what is happening in the customer journey is more like a kindergarten class getting ready for a fire drill, which is the alarm goes off and everyone runs different directions and hopefully some of them get to the area that they're supposed to go to, but it's really pandemonium. Like each customer has a different journey. The customer journey is not linear. I want someone to be exposed to an ad, come to the landing page, consume a piece of content, be motivated, sign up for the newsletter, get the newsletter, see a follow-up ad in the newsletter, and then decide that they're going to buy my products. I'm using an e-commerce example. In reality, the customer, somebody tells them about the product or they see it in the real world and they go to Google and they research a bunch of competitors and then they stop and they think about it and their kid distracts them and then they go somewhere else and then they see a billboard which can't be tracked and then they go onto social media and bump into somebody else using the product and then they go direct to the website and they buy something and somebody else has a completely different journey. So it seems like what you're saying is artificial intelligence has the capability to be the kindergarten teacher in my meme metaphor, to round up all of the craziness of everybody running in different directions and say, get in line. You can all have different emotions and different feelings and just drive people generally the right direction. It can interpret the different nature of people's motivation on a one-by-one basis because it doesn't have the capacity restraints that the human brain does of, I just want to create one thing that works and get people to use it. It's like, I can create 100,000 different things that work, and each one is tailored to your individual needs. That notion of personalization, and it seems like there is just a mental capacity limit for marketers in terms of how much can I take on, how many segments do I want, how many can I manage, as opposed to, in reality, you can have unlimited segmentation when a large language model is doing the breakdown and analysis. First off, what do you think of my meme? And second of all, am I thinking of this the right way?
I do understand where you are going, and what makes me think of is how often, myself included, we are really missing the point of having a mental model like a funnel. The point with the funnel is just for most of professionals to have a common language of how they are understanding something. it's a model and it's not an accurate representation of what's going on. Definitely, every single one of us is a unique person and we are doing our own thing. So if we really get trapped into the idea of the funnel, we are going to just do exactly the opposite from the concept of what the concept of personalization is trying to do, is to treat every single one of us as a unique person with a unique need. But still, we need a way to really understand what's going on, especially on a digital experience, where we don't have physical evidence of what people are doing, and we don't have ways of using our intuitive pattern recognition to understand what people like and what they don't. However, even a model like a funnel, which by definition we know that it doesn't work exactly in that perspective, it's very difficult to operate right now. At least with LLMs, what someone can have is that type of modeling analyzed to a very granular level and just shortcutting, leapfrogging straight away into where human judgment needs to come in, which is prioritization, triage, things that have to do with the identity of the brand. So the marketer can now leapfrog straight away into the decisions that need to happen, especially when it comes to what is the priority of the item and what is the identity of the brand and the customer experience that they would like to create. Right now, they are just lost into the complexities of looking at different funnels and perhaps going closer to the example that you were saying, even getting the misunderstanding that people really behave in a funnel, which is not true. It's just our mental model for understanding what big groups of people are doing.
My feeling is the mental model that we've been operating with for marketing, which is cast a wide net, whittle the market down based on segments with different marketing campaigns, trying to drive them to the same end result. And the use of new advanced technologies, large language models, artificial intelligence allows us to do a better job with personalization. And so instead of it being a funnel, it's like driving in a city. There's 100 different ways to get from one part of the city to the other. You could take the big roads or you can take lots of turns on the small roads, and each journey is going to be dependent on the needs of the person that you're trying to get from point A to point B. I feel like our conversation has been, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, the 30,000 foot level of thematically, how is artificial intelligence affecting marketers? And I want to work our way down, lose some altitude, get a little bit more practical, get ready to land the plane. When you think about the customer journey today, and marketers have done research, they've hopefully talked to their customers in person, they're using some sort of data and analysis to understand segmentation and common themes. What are some practical things marketers can do today using commonly accepted tools, OpenAI, other large language models that they can access to better understand their customer journeys and in the near term, make their marketing more effective for their existing customers?
It brings to mind a very simple hands-on tool for many of the e-commerce retailers. Let's pick an industry. Let's say that we are in the apparel industry and we are selling something very unique, clothes for teenagers. Obviously, there is a number of direct competitors to that example e-commerce retailer that we just picked. Honestly, day in, day out, marketers are not able to keep up with what are the promotions that the relevant direct competitors are doing. They are not able to catch up with what is their stock availability. They cannot see merchandising strategies and techniques. So, you know how there are these platforms like Lindy, which is basically a chat GPT, more specialized agent, or perhaps we can just stick into that. So think of a chat GPT, maybe a custom GPT AI assistant, who every day goes to the 5 or 10 different competitors and checks their promotion page. As you know, one of the latest trends in the industry is that every website has a page that puts together all the promotions. So on a daily basis, someone can use an AI assistant, especially if it is possible to schedule, and that is available in an AI agent platform like Lindy AI, for instance. And the AI agent can go to all the different competitors, visit the promotion page, and put whatever it's finding on a Google Doc. Simple as that. You can instantly have the promotion calendar of all of your competitors being documented in a log starting tomorrow. And although it might sound as a very small and easy thing to do that we could easily give to someone to do it 20 or 30 minutes every day, well, in reality, we know that this cannot happen every single day. It cannot happen during the weekends. It cannot happen during holidays and so on. And there are hundreds of these little tasks that a marketer ideally would like to outsource to an intern or somehow have that capability and mood and extra 20 minutes to do by themselves. But reality shows that this level of housekeeping is not done. So this is something very practical that if I was running a retail store, I would definitely like to know every single day for the past year what type of promotions my competitors were running.
I think that's great advice, and it's a good example of how artificial intelligence can help you understand the customer journey. It is not just feeding AI all of your data, and this mythical land of artificial intelligence does your segmentation and personalization and gives you all of the relevant information you need to know. I'm sure we're all working towards that. But in the real time, there's ways that you can use artificial intelligence to automate and reduce the amount of work it takes to do the regular things, to do your customer research, to understand your competitors, to get a better grasp on what's happening around you and what's happening around your prospect so you can better market today, not just in a future state. And that wraps up this episode of the Martech Podcast. Thanks for listening to my conversation with Georgios Grigoriadis, the CEO of Baresquare. If you'd like to hear more from Georgios, you can find a link to his LinkedIn profile in our show notes. You can contact him through his company's Twitter handle. It is Baresquare. That's Baresquare. Or you could visit his company's website, which is baresquare.com. Just one more link in our show notes I'd like to tell you about. If you didn't have a chance to take notes while you were listening to this podcast, head over to martechpod.com, where we have summaries of all of our episodes and contact information for our guests. You can also subscribe to our weekly newsletter, and you can even apply to be our next guest speaker on the Martech Podcast. Of course, you can always reach out on social media. Our handle is MartechPod, MarTechPod, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can contact me directly on LinkedIn. My handle is Ben J. Shap, BenJShap. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you want a daily stream of marketing and technology knowledge in your podcast feed, we're going to publish an episode every day this year. So hit the subscribe button in your podcast app, and we'll be back in your feed tomorrow morning. All right, that's it for today. But until next time, my advice is to just focus on keeping your customers happy.